Welcome to Inside with Outsiders. If you haven't already tuned in before, this is a podcast or a show where we interview people who have interesting stories and find out about the events that transpired in their lives that led them to where they are now. And today is a long-time friend of mine and an amazing artist, Kate Goerlich.
Hello, everyone. It's such a pleasure. It's been a while.
Been a long time, and I should introduce you as your artist name too, My Life in Yellow.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, so that is, the name that I go by for my poetry, for my street art, and just generally in life.
I mean, you have to explain to everyone watching right now, where are we?
We are currently inside my gallery that I own with my husband, Adam. And it's just this amazing space where we host multiple shows for different artists throughout the warmer months. We're closed right now just because it's cold. And yeah, it's typically geared towards street artists. We have about one show a month. We have an awesome party. We usually have free booze, DJ,
I think this place
vibes.
is incredible. That the fact that you have this massive studio made, it was originally a garage in the middle of Bushwick and what is now the hottest neighborhood in Brooklyn, I think.
I know, because it's very hot because it's very loud at night. So I know that it's the place to be.
By the way, if you need a place to pee in the middle of the night, just go to the basement door.
No, don't tell everyone. No, it's a problem. It's a problem.
Listen, I've known you before you considered yourself an artist, right? I've known you since you first moved to New York, I believe, a few months after.
I met you within my first month moving here.
Really? It was your first month?
My first month.
And I know that was I don't want to say trying time, but time of change for you.
Yes.
And we'll get into that. But let's hear, I like to have people talk about where they're from.
Okay.
And we'll go from there.
All right. Well, I am born and raised Pennsylvania. Born right outside of Philly. But I spent most of my life there, but then I went to college at Millersville University, which is out in Lancaster County. And so ultimately I ended up in Lancaster after I graduated from college, spent 10 years living in Lancaster City, was married to not my current husband. Right. Part of the story. And lived there with him 10 years. And then I took a bomb to my life, blew it up, and now here I am.
Yeah, and in an artist's way, you killed your darlings, right?
I did.
You had built this life up for yourself, and I want to know, obviously, some pieces of your life prior to that age.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an artist, but were you creative as a child?
I was. I was always sewing. So I had a really obsession with my home economics class in not elementary school, just junior high, where they introduced sewing, and we started doing these sewing projects, and it just became a passion of mine. My mom bought me a sewing machine. I started making clothing for my dolls by hand and this and that, and taught myself how to sew. I didn't take any classes.
Really?
Other than my home economics class, I was pretty much self-taught, and that was really my creative outlet, plus writing. I was always writing terrible poetry in my journal.
Terrible poetry? Why'd you say terrible?
It was I
was teenage girl poetry?
Oh yeah, all the reasons why no one will ever love me.
Oh yes. Well, let's maybe touch on certain. You let me know what you're not cool with talking about, right?
Right.
I know you had a tough time with your father, right?
Yes.
You okay with talking about that?
Yeah, we'll talk about
that. All right. So he was a incredible, well-accomplished athlete, right?
Yes. So he was a swimmer. Yeah. He was Olympic bound. He swam, and I don't know the name of the place, but in Philly, in that area. He was a swimmer, I believe, in Yale, or maybe that's when he quit, because he went to college at Yale to become a doctor. And then, drugs kind of took that away from him.
What age was this? This is after you were born, right?
As far as him being addicted to drugs and passing, it was he overdosed when I was 2.
Yeah. Oh, when you were 2 years old, I forgot about that. I didn't realize you were that young.
Yeah, we were outside my house. Remember then we did that?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, that's right. My first attempt to do any sort of documentary interviewing or recording was your story, Troy's, and I think there was a third, but yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So no, it was obviously I was small. I didn't really understand what was going on, but life kept changing, and I think it was not until I was a teenager that I was kind of well, he officially passed when I was on my 13th birthday, ironically.
So explain. So he overdosed at 2, and then
was brain damaged and had to go through lots of therapy, physical, speech therapy, all the kind of stuff.
What was, I mean, were you able to have a relationship with him when?
Not really.
What was the interaction like? How coherent was he?
No, he was a fully functioning human. I think it was just like his speech was impaired, and he had to like relearn how to walk and physical.
Were your parents still together?
It was an interesting time because like they were, but they weren't. I think he was unfaithful to my mother, and she knew about it, and then he overdosed, and obviously the person that he was being unfaithful with didn't want to deal with that, and was no longer around, and ultimately my mother just cared for him until he was able to live on his own, and then boop.
What was your relationship until he was able to live on his own?
Yes, and so he moved out and had his own apartment where his parents were coming and going and taking care of him, and I would visit him there.
How old were you around this time?
I was a teenager, so I was probably like, I guess not really, because he died on my 13th birthday, so like it would have been like 10, 11, 12.
How would you describe your relationship with him as a kid, teenager, whatever?
I feel like I don't really recall him other than a few specific moments of like, maybe like I always say one of the reasons why I'm afraid of the dark is because of him, because like when I was very little I was scared and he turned out the lights, and it was a whole thing, so I always joke that that's the reason why I was afraid of the dark.
Are you still afraid of the dark?
No, I've overcame it.
What, recently?
Within the last 20 years I've overcome it. But I still, ironically, Adam's like, why do we always have to have the hallway light on? We don't really need it. I'm like, no, we need it.
So we're over it.
I'm like, no, we need it. I'm like, what if you have to get up and pee at night? He's like, do you pee at night? I'm like, no. He's like, then what? I'm like, no, we need the light.
Just in case. Just in case.
Never know. But ultimately, yeah, the relationship had come to an end with them. She moved him out, and I would visit him every other Sunday. And I have to say that I have such limited recollection of my relationship with him, just because I kind of just didn't ever want to hang out with him because it's boring. We'd sit in his apartment. Didn't really do anything.
Was it because he wasn't capable of doing much?
Yeah, we just sit in his apartment for a few hours every other Sunday, and yeah, he couldn't drive. We couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
He walked with a cane. He could move around, but he was still slow.
Yeah.
And like slow moving. And as a kid, you want to like go and do this and that, whatever. And I guess maybe he just didn't have the creativity to like find ways to entertain us, or like not entertain us, but do things and get to know us. So I always think like if there was one person that I could have dinner with, dead or alive, it would probably be him.
Really?
Yes.
Him fully functioning, fully cognitive?
Either or.
Really? Okay.
Either or.
What would you want to say to him?
Well, through therapy, a lot of what I would say to him has changed because I was angry for a very long time.
Yeah.
But I think now I would want to get to better know his story, because the more I learned, and the more I learned about the relationship he had with his father was kind of trying and difficult. Like he was never good enough for his dad. There was a lot of turmoil there.
Right.
He could never do anything right. He could be like an Olympic-bound swimmer, but it was still not good enough. He was going to medical school, but it wasn't the right medical school. And this is all stuff I learned from my mom many, many years ago.
Right. And do you feel like you kind of took on some of those issues?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, because I would just want to get to know, like, where, just like his process in his life, is like where things kind of changed, like what was he, I don't even know what he was like. I know he was super creative and super fascinating human, from stories people have told me. I do believe that I'm probably more like him than I am my mother.
Okay.
Even though I don't really know him, I feel like, having known my mother and then having not really known him, I feel like I'm probably more
right. I mean,
this
from
side.
the stories you've told me about your mom, I might agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's obviously affected your creative process and becoming an artist. I mean, I know we were joking about the other day we were talking about it. Like you have this project that you came up with in your 30s called My Life is in Yellow.
Yes.
And I'm skipping a bunch of stuff, but I want to get to the part I feel like is the most interesting about you. And so you obviously you had this divorce in your 20s,
Yes.
and this whole life blow up, like you said, leaving Pennsylvania and going to the big city.
Yes.
I remember, I think you had a bit of a cushion because you had some sort of inheritance.
Yes. From my father passing and then his parents passing.
And which then you had the balls to go and come to New York.
Yes.
I think you only knew Katie. Did you have many other friends here?
I knew Katie. I knew my friend Cindy that I went to high school with, and then an old college roommate,
So it's
Erica.
actually, 3 people. So you didn't know anyone really.
Really?
I mean, you had a few people, but what was that experience like? How did coming to, first off, how did going from a divorce to this like perfect white picket fence life? Obviously, it wasn't perfect because you almost blew it up on purpose, right?
It was definitely self-sabotage.
Yeah.
I would say that I was checking off all the boxes, like go to college, get a job, get married, and the next thing would have been having kids, but thankfully we did not, because I wouldn't have been able to be here. I would still be in Pennsylvania, co-parenting.
Churning butter.
Yeah, sure. No.
In Lancaster.
I'm not Amish.
And you heard I said it Lancaster, not Lancaster. It's Lancaster.
Lancaster. Everyone, here's my public service announcement. It is Lancaster. It's not Lancaster, it's Lancaster. The locals will appreciate you. But anyway, so I was just checking boxes, and I just kind of grew, like one day I was just like, what am I doing? And I just was unhappy, and I will admit to the crowd, yes, that I did have an affair. I'm not proud of it. However, it was, in a way, perfect, because I don't know if I would have had the courage just to leave. Right.
And you said you're checking off boxes. Were you doing this because of what society's norms are and standards are?
Well, I didn't know anything other than that.
Well, when did you, but I mean, you obviously...
I didn't grow up in New York, so I feel like I just...
Yeah, but I'm saying you didn't grow up in New York, and you still decided to blow up your life while living in Pennsylvania. What inspired that?
That's great. I think it's just the feeling that there's something else for me. And not necessarily knowing what that something else was. And, it was just that there's something more. And like, I married an amazing human. So it's not like he was bad.
Right.
And that was why I'm like, the affair was kind of like the way out that I was a chicken and I used that as the way out. But like, my husband was phenomenal, human, kind, giving, secure, loving, all the things. It just wasn't the right person for me.
So that being said, when you were in Pennsylvania and you said there was something more out there for you, which you were obviously great, but where did you find your sense of belonging when you were there?
I have amazing group of friends.
But did you ever feel like you really belong there? Is my question to you.
I think for a period of time, yes. But then when things kind of started to dissolve in my marriage, and this other person kind of appeared as what I thought was a knight in shining armor to save me from myself. Right. Little immature way to think, but that's where I was.
I mean, pretty actually probably more common than people think.
Right. Yeah. It's like, you think that you're unhappy and you think that something on the outside is going to make you happy. Right. And so I was super unhappy, and I was blaming my husband because I was like, I'm unhappy, you are my husband, it is your fault. Which is not an educated view, but at the time that's all I knew. Right. And I didn't have a healthy example of a relationship in my life, just with my parents, and I just didn't have somebody to model what a relationship should be.
Which is extremely important if you're gonna have a healthy relationship. Which is why we go to therapy.
That's why we go to therapy, yes. Exactly, but at that point I hadn't started therapy. Right. Maybe I did start at some point. I was already way down the road on self-destruction, but I started to feel like there was something else, and I started to look at my career. I worked in advertising, and I was thinking maybe I want to get into fashion since I love to sew and whatnot. And so I started driving to Philly from Lancaster, which was an hour-and-a-half drive, every weekend to take fashion classes. And then at some point I said to my husband, I was like, we should move to New York. We should move to New York. We should do this. That could be so exciting. And he's like, ew, why? Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And at that point I'm like, oh. I was like,
that's the part where it clicked, and okay.
It was kind of this moment where I was just like, oh, and then there was another situation where it kind of clicked. I'm just like, wait, I don't get to decide anymore.
This is great. I mean, I've known you for so long, and I never thought of asking you that moment, because I never thought about grew up here, so for me it was like I never think about the change of moving somewhere else, but I've thought about like spending time in Paris and picking up, going 3 months, 6 months, but imagine picking up and leaving your community and your sense of belonging and your people. That's brave.
And like I went through this whole 2 years of trial and errors in like life there. And then one day I was out to lunch with a friend of mine and complaining about everything. And I just paused and I'm like, you know what? I think I'm going to apply to Parsons and move to New York City. And she looked me dead in the eyes and then started to bawl. She just started flat out, tears streaming down her face. And I was like, why are you crying? And she's like, Katie, you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, I am.
Was she like hoping you were going to do this for a long time?
No,
like,
I think it was not even a hoping or thinking that I would ever have done it. She like, cause I hadn't talked about moving to New York. It was just out of like nowhere. I just kind of was like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And she just started crying and I had asked her, I'm like, why are you crying? She's like, you're really going to do this. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to do this. And then within 6 months I had been accepted to Parson, and then from 6 months from there, so within 1 year of that conversation, I was in New York.
And then I met you.
Yes.
That's
July 21st.
That's when you moved to New York.
That was my day of moving to New York.
That's amazing. I'm really glad I finally know the real backstory, the emotion behind it. All right, so you're in New York. I mean, I met you a month in, but since I've known you, you've gone through different phases of different, communities, purposes, sense of belongings. There's been so many versions of you since in New York, and I've seen them all. Yes. I feel like at least I've seen the one I've witnessed. It's been a bunch.
Yes.
I remember the first
one.
I'm
like a cat. I have got 9 lives.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. And Crystal vouched for this. Those make the most interesting stories for these interviews. And even just knowing you, I've seen some. I met you. The first Kate I met was a very newbie.
Amish girl?
No, she was never Amish.
She wasn't Amish. She always had an edge, but it was like this low-key edge, and you could tell if you spoke to her. But she was almost like a kid in a brand new place that's absorbing this fascinating place called New York City. And it was beautiful to see. But I've seen it many times, and I see people get eaten up by it.
Yeah.
And New York squeezed you a bit. It did. You lived with me for what, 3 months?
Yeah.
6 months? I forgot how long.
I think I cried every night.
You cried. I live in a 2-bedroom, and you were in a tough place. I think you lost your job, right?
I lost my job and I lost my apartment.
And you lost your apartment, and she needed a place to crash. So she came over to Jersey City, and it was just, it was nice to have her there. But she'd come home crying. I remember you were living for a while. I had a girlfriend at the time, and you walk in crying one day, and she's like,
you guys were sitting on the couch watching TV.
Yeah, and she's like, "You want to go talk?" Like, let me go talk to her. Let me go over. But it was just a frustration because almost similar. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But almost similar to the change you had in Pennsylvania, I think there's more for you out there.
Yeah.
You're probably going through the same thing, even though you were in New York.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have a job. You think you were doing yoga on the side. You'd maybe finished Parsons by then.
I finished Parsons. So in that transition, I had done PR. I was working in jewelry and watch PR.
Yeah.
I had done that briefly. I had done a trip to India. I had done like all of these things. I had like 5 jobs. I was teaching yoga. I was teaching a fashion class at a school. I was doing the PR. I was sweeping the yoga studio at night.
Yeah.
Like I was just doing all of these things trying to make ends meet.
But also trying to find out what you were going to do. Because at the end of the day, you didn't know what you wanted to do.
No idea.
No.
None.
And I don't know when this was, but I feel like around this time, correct me if I'm wrong, but you met somebody who was very influential in your life, and it was a mutual friend of ours, Thomas.
Yes.
And Thomas was somebody who I met because he was co-manager of Swedish Raps. Thomas was from Sweden, Stockholm. And I met him through my work in music when I connected with RMH Music Management, record label, whatever, they did everything. And I became friends with them. And then he came to stay with me in New York for a month or 3 months, I can't remember, because
I think it was 3 months.
His mom had passed away.
Yeah.
He wanted to get away from...
He had to break up.
He had to break up. Mom passed away, and then he knew he didn't belong in music anymore.
Yeah.
And he started really focusing on art.
Yeah.
Like like a madman.
Well, he was also very well known in the street art graffiti world because he did this Instagram called Tags and Throws.
Yeah.
And so he would just walk around and photograph graffiti and document it. And I guess not a lot of people were doing that early on in Instagram, and so he kind of blew up in that regard.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know anything about street art or graffiti at that point, other than it existed, but I didn't know enough or anything.
What I mean, I feel like he was one of the people who kind of opened it up to you. Do you remember a moment when that happened?
I would say that maybe the moment didn't occur with him. I think that he started to bring in the idea and the appreciation of graffiti and street art, but it wasn't until he introduced me to Stephanie,
yes,
who did All You See Is Crime in the City Instagram. She photographed more of like the street art pretty stuff, like the murals and things
colorful,
like that.
As opposed to the
pretty,
black and white, which was the rough industrial tax and throw style.
And so it was really with her that street art was something that I thought that I could do.
Right.
Because I was writing poetry, I was, performing poetry, I was getting up on stages performing poetry.
What inspired that? Because I remember the poetry was first.
Yes.
And I remember we started doing poetry, like, it almost seemed normal. Like, some people were like, I'm going to start doing poetry. I'm like, all right. And you were like, yeah,
well,
Kate does poetry. Yeah.
Well, I had always, like I said, going back to the shitty poetry as a teenager, I always was writing at poetry, and I kind of just stopped and I put it away. And I actually was writing a blog when I first moved to New York called My Life in Yellow.
Oh, well, let's also, so this blog is called My Life in Yellow. What was it about?
It was about moving to New York.
It was. And then, why yellow? Because that's obviously your theme.
Yellow is my favorite color. And the reason it's my favorite color is, to me, it represents happiness. Mm-hmm. And it's sunshine, it's joy. And there was this girl in my undergrad that always had yellow around her, and she was like the happiest person I ever saw. And so I just started to associate yellow and happiness because of this woman named Heidi. I wouldn't even know what she looked like.
Right.
I just know her name was Heidi, and she was my neighbor in the dorm, and everything around her was yellow.
Right.
And so that's when the association began. And when I was unhappy, I would just surround myself with yellow in hopes that it could cheer me up.
Okay. So then this blog turned into your poetry, which you picked back up because you stopped the blog.
I stopped the blog, and then I started the poetry, which really happened when I was in India. So I was in India for 2 months. Mm-hmm. And
for yoga training, correct?
For yoga training, and then I just stayed.
Yeah.
Because Thomas had influenced me to stay. He's like, you're going to be so sad leaving after 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Wow, okay, yes.
He's like, trust me. He's like, you have to go for longer.
And are you happy you did?
I'm so grateful that I did. And I had a lot of time by myself, and I just started writing poetry again. Instead, I initially started out as blogging, because the blog still existed when I was in India. Mm-hmm. And then it slowly became poetry on the blog, and then the blog stopped because Instagram became more well-known. Yeah. And I started posting on Instagram. And that's where the poetry kind of came in. And how I ended up on stage was that a yoga friend of mine, her husband was doing a poetry reading and invited me to come. And I was watching everybody perform, and I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And so I started searching out open mic nights.
Right.
And I found an open mic night, and he joined me because I was too scared to go by myself.
Yeah.
So he came with me, and we both got open mic slots. Uh-huh. And I wrote a poem about my dad, and I performed it, and that was it.
The start.
That was the start.
How are we doing on time?
We got a little over 5 minutes.
Okay. So we were talking about this the other day. Mm-hmm. Both Sade fans. You like Sade, and we were saying Sade needs to get her heart broken more often to make great music, more music.
Correct.
I think you hadn't had a relationship in a long time, and you were writing this poetry, and then it somehow turned into these street art projects, right?
Correct.
When was that? After you were relevant to the poetry performance and the street art. When did that happen?
They're probably about 6 months separated.
Okay.
Where I started doing the poetry, I would go to open mic nights weekly and write new work. I was like churning it out, performing it. And that's when Stephanie came from Sweden and stayed with me. And she's like, you should write some of those things on stickers and put them up on the streets. I'm like, no, that's your thing. That's not my thing.
Right.
And she's like, no. And she hands me a postal sticker.
Yeah.
And I write, tell him how you feel. Because I was dating this guy, Leaf, at the time. And
I thought that was the reason, but yes.
He wasn't necessarily, like, that was why I wrote that, because I was unhappy in that relationship. Again, a lovely human, just not the right one for my existence. And I was like, I hadn't been honest with him about how I was feeling. And so I kind of just wrote that on a sticker, and she took it out and slapped it.
Yeah.
And put My Life in Yellow on it, on the Instagram, and somebody tagged me in it. Somebody saw it on the street, they took a photo of it. One sticker.
Wow.
And it was in, I want to say it was in Soho. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, light bulb, right?
I was like, oh, I like how this feels. It's like the dopamine shot. Like, you're like, whoo. Yeah,
but on top of that, it's also validating for you. Not just people like it, but because you're not the only one feeling this.
Right.
And I have to say that I know you, so everyone, but you were really battling with validation and acceptance and being loved in many ways. That people like.
Well, I think my greatest fear in life is not being good enough.
Right.
And all my shit stems from that. It's like the worthiness. And so, like, any time that I have a meltdown or feel not whatever, if you dig to the bottom of it, it's because something made me question whether or not I was worthy.
Right. And I remember there's a couple of times where we didn't speak for a while because there was something I wasn't aware of, or that I might have said, or you could misconstrue somehow, and then months later I'd have to be like, is that why we haven't spoken in so long? Okay, this is like, there was an example.
Like, I don't like the way I feel.
Yeah, but no, I agree. And the thing is, like, I totally understand. Like, I look at it and I definitely see your perspective. And part of the reason I've worked on myself is so I could also see outside of my perspective. And that, it also was hurtful. Like, I was hurt that you were hurt by that New Year's Eve, where I hired you to work and you saw me coming with a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
And she misconstrued, and I understand after she explained it to me. I hired her to help me out with the door for New Year's, and I come in with a bunch of friends, and she didn't recognize all, and she felt a certain way, like I'm not part of the inner circle. In my eyes, she was the most inner circle because I trusted her with, my money running my door, but it was like this and I get it. And
well, because I think it was just like this whole feeling of like, I didn't get to be invited to the party. The only way I could come to the party was to work the party.
Right, and it was this, I understand how she might have felt it being a transactional relationship in that regard. But afterwards, I was like, wait, no, not at all. Like, you're the one I trust, you and my sister, I trust the most to do that. Like, you guys are my inner circle, which is why you're doing this. But no, I say that to say we're not done with your story, of course, talking about it. But I love what you've become. I think it's beautiful how you've come into your own and still growing as an artist and as a person. So I want to say you're very worthy of love.
Thank you.
And you're I think I admire what you're doing. It's inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that.
No, I remember very clearly. All right.
Oh, we're back on. I was saying I had forgotten about that moment. I guess it's because, I healed and moved on, but I guess,
Well, I mean, for me, it's just another piece of me that I want to make sure that I don't forget about.
Yeah.
So I'm aware of how I interact with people, and that no one ever feels like it's what's the word I used before, but transactional.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you start slapping these stickers around, and you've grown this massive following now, and you become well known as My Life in Yellow.
My Life in Yellow, and people call me Yellow. Like, I have a group of individuals in my life that just call me Yellow. They don't even call me Kate, which I love it. I absolutely love it. And it became a whole community, a group of individuals that I love, and I love spending time with. I still spend time with.
So this is where you belong now. This is you found your people.
I found my people,
so,
and it's,
So you had a couple of people in Lancaster. You came to New York, and I mean, you and I kind of ran through a bunch of people that we were hanging out with, kind of like trying to find our own people. You were trying to find your people. I was trying to find my people. But in the meantime, we were each other's people, along with like, we had moments like Kavita, Phil, Michelle, like we were trying to find our people. These are people that we don't really hang out with now, but for a moment, they were our people.
Yeah.
And
I'm very grateful for them, for like
for those moments.
for those moments in our
All
lives.
those eras in our life, for sure.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like we had a few eras in our lives where we were trying to find our path, for sure. And what's beautiful is looking at those times and being able to see the struggles in many ways, whether it be financial or social or emotional, and going through that struggle with people at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, and it's like I did have like the different individuals. Like I always had different groups. Like I said, my club friends.
Yeah.
I had my yoga friends.
Yeah.
And my fashion friends initially, and then fashion kind of dissipated out, and then ultimately now I have like my street art friends.
Yeah.
And that's the community that I most interact with, and it's just been a lot of fun because. I felt very appreciated
Of course.
with what I was doing, and strangers were feeling benefit from what I was doing. The one thing that I really learned, and you kind of touched on it earlier, was that I wasn't the only one having these feelings that I was posting about, and it made me realize how we are so all common.
All connected.
All connected.
For sure.
And that's actually something I say a lot now. We are all connected is probably the sticker that I slap the most now.
Yeah.
And it's really that we're not very different.
No.
Like
no.
our skin, human skin, suits might look different, but at the end of the day, we are all the same.
It's funny, matter of fact, thank you for inviting me to your cousin's wedding in China.
Oh yes, that's right. We went to China together.
We went to. We didn't have a wedding date, and I was like, "Do you want to go to China?" I'm like, let's go to China. We went to
Let's go to China.
It was an amazing experience, but I use this is a core memory for me. I think we were walking through the little town with a little market where they have ice cream and something like bugs and yak skewers, and I kid you not, I hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm looking around, I'm like, people are the same all over the world.
Yeah.
They just finished having dinner with their family. They're walking around trying to get ice cream and be entertained and have a good time. It reminded me of the Jersey Shore Boardwalk. Reminded me of Times Square. Reminded me of, it's all the same.
Yeah.
That's why I realized anywhere you go, we were across the whole world. In a remote place in China where there's no foreigner taking photos of us because we look so different. And as different as we were, as different as the landscape was, and we were the Nashi tribe, right? So it was very unique, different kind of specific Chinese population, and they still want to do the same thing. And that's when I realized, across the world, humans just want the same thing. Yeah. And if they all realized people traveled more and got in touch with other cultures, we wouldn't be at war.
Yeah. We all just want to belong. We all want to be loved. We all want to be seen.
We all want to get ice cream after dinner with our family and listen to music.
I want ice cream. I know. It's a shame that the world has lost sight of the fact that we are all the same.
Yeah.
And so, my biggest, like I said, thing that I've been writing over and over again is that we are all connected. And it really initially had come from after my mom's passing, and kind of diving down the whole past life other side. I started reading Laura Lynn Jackson, who's a psychic medium out in Long Island. Not the Long Island psychic medium, but she's been tested. She's passed insane qualifications.
Wow. You went to see her?
Yeah, so I've read her books. I've gone to see her, and it was this really beautiful view of life. It's where our spirits are on the other side, our loved ones are as close to us right here. It's just a thin sheet of paper to the other side.
Right.
And then I got really into Dr. Brian Weiss, who wrote the book Many Lives, Many Masters. And it's about past life regression. He accidentally did a past life regression on a client of his many, many, many years ago. And
can you explain what that is? I don't know what that is.
So it's when he basically hypnotized her, and he was trying to just go to her early years to find out why she might have a certain trauma.
Yeah.
She was afraid of everything, afraid of the dark, afraid of the water, afraid of lots of anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
And he was trying to figure it out, but they couldn't figure it out. So he tried to go back in her childhood using hypnotism, but somehow he flipped over into a past life.
Oh, wow.
And she started speaking to him as a different individual, but it was her. And the story is phenomenal. To read the book, it's factual, but it reads like
fiction.
Fiction.
Yeah.
And she had 80 some lives that they hit. And he recorded all of it and wrote a book about it. And every time they hit something, like she was afraid, like I said, she was afraid of the water. In a past life,
She drowned or
she
something.
drowned.
Yeah, I see.
She drowned in some huge flood. And he gives details of where it was and the timing that it was. And her and her daughter drowned, but her daughter was her niece in this current life.
Oh, wow.
And so it just shows how we are all connected, where you and I were probably like in each other's lives in a past life. We could have been brother, sister. I could have been your mom. Yeah. You could have been my mom. Like, it doesn't, gender, all of that doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
And so like going back to like the world and everything, we've all been every color. We've all been every religion. We have all been all of that in past lives. And so it's like wild.
Isn't that a Hindu approach, or is it a Buddhist approach? I'm not sure.
Well, like I know that the reincarnation is how they look at it.
Yeah.
And it's that whole concept where we're just kind of like coming back.
Yeah.
And I honestly do believe in that. And it helped me with my grief, with my mother's passing, because I actually feel that I'm closer to my mom now than I was when she was alive. Because I feel like she better understands me, because she's now part of it all.
Right.
So.
Right. Oh, that's beautiful.
As we go down like the spiritual,
beautiful.
like after, but
yeah. I mean, I feel very, very lucky. I have both my parents. Still have my grandmother, my own grandmother as well. So I can't imagine the pain you feel when losing a parent. I know both you and Chris have lost parents. So but yeah, it's beautiful to feel connected after the passing.
Yeah, and I really do. Like, it was definitely a struggle for the first 2 years. But I created art from it, as you know.
Yeah.
Like, even though I'm happy in love, and I'm not writing about love anymore, it's like I had a period of time where I was writing about grief, and I haven't written as much, because we were joking about Sade,
right.
where maybe I need to get my heart broken, but.
No, I think I was actually just thinking, there's trials and tribulations every day, no matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to be love, it doesn't have to be about grief. Just think about what gets under your skin, or what people might be going through that they might think they're alone in going through. Even whether it be aging, whether it be health, whether it be whatever it is. Like, you seem to be open enough and vulnerable enough to really connect with others, and I think you should continue.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what going into what we're sitting in, the gallery.
Yeah.
So when I married Adam, he owns this property and created this beautiful space, but this initially was his working space.
Yeah.
And he lived in the basement and had 2 tenants. So the floor that I live on now was a tenant, and then our current tenant was living on the top floor. And so when we got married, the first floor tenant moved down the street.
Yeah.
We moved to the first floor, and then all of everything that was in here moved to the basement. So this became an open space.
Yeah.
And he was doing his own little events here and there. And I'm like, I want to host an art show.
Yeah.
And I want to curate an art show. I'm like, I really want to do an art show where I make artists only use black, white, and yellow. And so I did the black, white, and yellow show.
Okay.
And I was the only color that the artists were allowed to use. And it was phenomenal. It was such a great night. People were so inspired. Lots of people came to attend. And it was just like this great community feeling.
Yeah.
And people started hitting like, oh, can I have an art show? Can I have an art show? And suddenly, like, we started having art shows. So we had Dark Clouds, and then we had Stickman, and all these other well-known street artists. And from there, we just like, hey, what if we just give it our all?
Yeah.
Like, curate a schedule. And we've been doing this for 2.5 years now.
That's great.
And we just came off our best year yet. And it's not even like thinking of it financially. It's just thinking of it like having artists feel good, accomplished, like they got to do something.
And your creative outlet, which is something Chris had when we had the original podcast, the ones you were watching before this, he had this studio, which was his baby, and he made this mad. You walk into the place and you felt the creative energy. That's what inspired me to come in and hit him up and be like, Chris, I want to do this, because we came in, he was doing this beer reviews, and he was doing them, and I was like, something here. Yeah. I feel good doing this, and I feel good doing this with this guy. So I feel you. I feel like for a creative like yourself, it's your lifeline.
Yeah, and it's just, So whereas I might not have been creating as much like art like I had in the past, now I feel like I'm creating opportunity and creating a space for people to come and feel community.
Right.
So we were having monthly events during the warmer months because this is really like an indoor-outdoor space, as you can tell because of all the leaves, because normally the doors are wide open. So they all blew in, but it's just been great. Like, and like the feedback, the people love it. Like they feel the energy. They are so fascinated by the artists we have on the walls. Like people, like even the days that we don't have an event and Adam just has the gate open, people just wander down. They're like, what is this place?
That goes to one of the, because I like to touch on sense of belonging. I mean, we have a growth identity, which we talked about, transition and change. We talked about belonging community. We've obviously talked about. But the last one is play and curiosity. Okay. And is this your play? Is this where you satisfy your curiosity?
I would say this is definitely play. Yeah. I would say...
And what else do you do outside of this for play? But yeah.
I probably need to do more outside of this. Because I think my life has been all-consuming. Like going into Manhattan for my job.
Well,
and then coming here.
I'm going to suggest, and I'd love to hang out with you more. Come out some Outsiders stuff. And if it's not an Outsiders thing, I'm always doing something active. So
because I came to Outsiders before it was Outsiders.
This is an OG. It's OG. She came. I'm gonna give you this. This is my homie right here. Before it was Outsiders, when I pitched Cliff Bar the Rockaway Ride.
Oh yes, the Rockaway Ride.
And it was called Bikes in the Beach or Bike and Music. It was some different name. The first one. You were there. You were there for the first few years.
I was. Twice. And I remember what year was that there was like a fire on the bridge and half of us got caught. We had to go like this long, like an hour later we got to
maybe year 2 or 3. Yeah. Yeah. But you were OG, so you...
And then your first hike. I was on your first hike.
The one to Storm King in the hike, or...
No. It's the one where...
Yes, you can say it. You were there. You were there. All right.
It was the one where people got lost.
So this is great. It was an amazing situation for me. It was terrible during the time. It was absolutely terrible.
But it was a big learning experience.
Huge learning experience. So it was our first real hike, I had somebody working with me on Outsiders, like a partner on Outsiders before we became Outsiders, and that same week. He tells me he had a kid on the way. He had his own business, which was bankrupt, and he's like, I gotta bow out. I gotta get a job. He found this good job. He's like, you can do this. We ran through the hike before. I did it with him. Like, you could do this on your own. It was 40 people by myself. So everything was great. Halfway through the hike, we're good. We finally get to like the last 3/4 of the hike, and there's this tricky split. And I didn't see that half the group was a little too far back to see where we turned. And we lost people for 2 hours.
2 hours.
And I was going mad. The people
I was
that
in
were
the front, so I was with him.
The people that were with me, I sent them to the where we were supposed to, the bus, and we're there.
And there's no service.
I'm running back. I must have ran 6 miles trying to find people. And they were calling me. Some people end up walking to this place. They Ubered back, like crazy stuff. And it was a nightmare for me. Nightmare. But it was like, there's a silver lining here where this woman came out threatening to sue me, and she had all the right to be upset. But from there on out, I got LLC'd, I got insurance, I got a team, I got walkies, I got everything buttoned up. And from then after that, we were refining the business. So you were there. And
I was there.
You were there. And thankfully, most of the people there were friends or friends of friends.
Right.
But the friends of friends were the ones that weren't happy.
Yeah. And like the bus driver was so mad.
The bus driver was being a jerk. He was supposed to be there till we left the time we told him we were going to leave. He was just pissed. Yeah. Anyway, that was you're definitely an OG, authentic outsider for more than just that experience. You were there for the first before it was Outsiders, and I appreciate that. Well, let's see. I want to see what else we touched on real quick. I guess you've transformed your life into this beautiful life right now with your husband. You found love.
I found love.
I'm happy for you. You found purpose outside of your day job, of course, and your day job is able to help you.
Yeah, my day job is great. Like it's security, financial, all the things, and it's kind to me. Like my former job was not as lovely, but now my current job, I love it. What's next? Is there a next thing for you? I think there's a lot of rediscovery I need to do for myself. So I know that I've had all these evolutions, and I think that I'm on the verge of the next one. Adam and I talk about me retiring from my day job. Which is terrifying because it is so much security and safety, healthcare, all those things. But it's also thinking about like, when I make that leap to leave corporate life, like where am I going to land? And is it in the gallery? Is it as an artist? Could be all of the things. So I think right now I'm in a space of not really knowing.
Well,
so I'm on the verge of one more leap of faith.
As strategic as you can be, but at the end of the day, you're going to be an entrepreneur. You got to take that risk.
I know.
An artist is an entrepreneur.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Adam is amazing, who you will interview shortly,
soon,
not tonight, but another night, where he just has no fear. And I am very inspired by him, because he's just like, he bought this house and he sunk all of his money into it.
Yeah.
And not sunk as in like a bad way, but he just like,
no, you invested
he
all.
Cashed out his Apple stock that he had since like early 90s.
Yeah.
And just created this masterpiece. Whereas me, I would never have done that. I would have been like my little safety net.
Wait. No, you bullshit.
Okay, I did do it.
Yeah.
I did. I already did it. But
you did.
Yeah,
you did. The
fair,
thing is,
thank you.
yeah, so you can do it again.
But if I had Apple stock, I don't know if I would like cha-ching and like.
But your Apple stock was this inheritance.
Inherent, and it wasn't a lot of money. It was just enough, and I've spent every.
But what I'm saying is, you did it. It's not about the amount.
Right.
It's about taking it all and investing in yourself. You did it.
And I always say, like, when my grandmother passed, and her passing was what gave me the money. Because like my father passed first, and then my grandmother. And I always say, like, it was, I feel like this is her gift to me, was the ability to go to New York with that little chunk of money. And then after that fell out, then I had to.
You figured it out.
I figured it out. And I will say the one thing I'm proud of a lot of things about myself, but I was never going to fail. And I knew I was never going to fail. At no point did I think that I was going to end up in a gutter, naked and alone. You know what I mean? Like,
you end up in Jersey City in a small bed.
I ended up crying on Jeremy's couch. On
She's
Jersey
crying
City.
Again.
That was my lowest. But I will joke that Jersey City was my low point in New York.
Wow. Well, I mean, it was her low point in her life, and that was your safety net.
Yes, that's how I knew. There was always people who loved me that like the worst would have been having to go back to Pennsylvania, but that was never that was not even in my mind.
Well, I don't know if your friends would allow that. Yeah.
But I couldn't have done it without you.
I appreciate you. There's a lot I probably couldn't have done without you. I mean, there's been breakups where I was like a mess. There's times where
there was some bad ones.
I had
he would call me.
I would call you. There's also times where my life was tough, and I reached a point where I didn't want to do it anymore, and I wasn't as good at it anymore because for a number of factors. And there's times where it was like I need to find a way to get people out, otherwise I'm not going to make money. And there's always someone I could call and be reliable to pop in.
Well, I told him, because one of the things I'd said, I was like, you don't need to butter me up and be like, oh, I haven't seen you. I'm like, just be like, Kate, I really need you.
Then I would.
And I was like, just say it. I'm like, Kate.
You come in for an hour.
I'm like, please, like, I'm low on numbers. Can you come out? And I'd be like, absolutely. Rather than, oh, I miss you. Like, come on out. Like, great.
I don't think I did that.
No.
No, I was like,
maybe like early.
Before I knew you.
Before you knew me. Yeah. But then at that point, I'm like, just be real with me.
But early, I was also still doing really well back then.
Yeah.
But,
I was like, just be real. Like, just tell me you need a pretty face and I'll show up. I'll put on the red lipstick and the heels and I'll come on out.
Oh yeah, and your style has definitely improved. I have to say that tremendously.
No, I was telling Adam, because Jeremy always made a joke that all of my friends were because of him.
Oh, your friends?
All of my friends were because of Jeremy. You always said that. You're like, all of your friends are because of me, and you've like, if you look at the lineage of my friendships, you are at the bottom of it.
I mean, but it actually makes sense if you think about rational. Not to brag about it, no, but saying you were out. That was a community we built.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, correct. But it's like I always be like, no. I'm like, now I've got my own community that has nothing to do with Jeremy. And then I was like, but shit. Thomas to Stephanie to street art to my current community to Adam, my husband. husband is, you're at the bottom of it. I was like, no!
You're welcome. I'll take credit. I will take credit. But the thing is, it's a feel-good feeling for me. Like connecting people makes me feel happy, and the fact that I had something to do with this, I mean, this is inspiring to me. And if I have a little morsel of responsibility for this, I feel blessed.
You definitely did, because like if I didn't meet Thomas, who met me, who introduced me to Stephanie, who introduced me to street art, who like I would not be here.
For sure. I
would not be sitting in this beautiful gallery doing amazing things. And I want to inspire people and give people walls. It's in the art world, wall space, and like an area to be is so important.
May I make a request? Absolutely. Do you ever do photography here?
We're going to have a photography show.
He's an amazing fine art photographer. And we've been looking for a place to show his work and also for him to curate a photography show. I'm not gonna keep on bragging about this guy, but I'll give him his flowers. He's such an amazing photographer. He knows great photographers. And he'll give me my flowers when he's drunk. Random text. He's like, I think it's amazing what you're doing. That's enough, I'm drunk.
Aw, those are the best messages, not you up.
But we should do that. We're going off topic here, but I think we've covered a lot here. I think we've more or less gotten your story so far. It's not over. I can't wait to see your next chapter. I want to get you on the show again. Eventually we'll get your husband on, but when your next chapter, we're talking about your next transition, which I know you're gonna have.
It's coming.
And I can't wait to see it, and hopefully I'll have some sort of transitional news about our business soon, because we've got a few projects going on that we can tell you. But where can people find you?
At Skewville, Star Street. We're the Blue House on Star Street, but mylifein.yellow on Instagram. The gallery is skewville.presents, and that's how you can find out about all of our events, which we're dark right now, but come April.
We probably air this, I don't know who knows when, but yeah.
Well, come April 2026.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you. Okay, I love you, I appreciate you, and let's do more.
Absolutely, so much to be done.
Stay tuned for the next one. Peace. All right, that was really good.